Hey, what's up? This is your girl Diamond. So, in honor of Pride, I wanted to talk about my first time going to a gay bar and having a good old Pride-filled time. My name is Diamond Stylz. I usually go live every Friday, but I couldn't go live yesterday because I was out on a date, and it was a cool date. But so I'm going live tonight because I don't have nothing to do tonight. So we gonna go live now. Hey Kay, hey Andre, hey Brittany. How are y'all? Do y'all remember y'all first time going to a gay bar? Hey, Raven. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Make sure as you come in, you thumbs up. I'm trying to think. I have a good memory, but I can't remember exactly the time. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love this color too. I love, I love any kind of green. Green, blue, um, any type of green, any type of blue. It's not my favorite color, but I really look good in red. Um, I love black. Black is my favorite color. Hey, CL. It was Tampa Tracks. 90s. My first time was in 94. 95? 94 or 95, child. I don't know. One. Ah. So let me see. So this is the mid 90s. This is at the tail end of the AIDS epidemic. I was 14. Was I 13, 14? 13 or 14. I can't remember exactly. Um, Somewhere around there, somewhere around 13 to 14. And so this is at the tail end of, like I said, the AIDS epidemic, because around 95 is when, the medicines kind of started to do a little bit better and people start dropping like flies. And it started to get a little bit better in regards to the survivability of HIV and AIDS and stuff like that. And so it was at the tail end of that. So we were still in the midst because I just remember it being this kind of dark cloud over the culture. Like, and it was just in your face, like HIV protection and prevention and shame. It was in your face, like it just was there. As soon as you go into the gay clubs, it's bowls of condoms and pictures of um, sad looking gay white boy, some type of poster of a sad gay white boy on there. And oh, hold on, let me see. 1 second. I think that's messing up. Oh, I know what it is. I'm sorry. I have my garage band up. Let me close this. So yes, can y'all hear me? It was like this. you'll see posters of white gay men looking sad and have a big letter, HIV and protect yourself, know your status. It just was all over the place. And so I wouldn't say it was annoying. That's not the right word. It just was, honey, it was in our face. There's no, there was no reason uh, that you didn't know about HIV because, honey, they were, it was in your face, child. Um, and so as a kid who was not into like at the time, I had not been penetrated. Of course, I done gobbled some meats, child. Of course, I had been gobbling some meats, but as far as being penetrated, I had not been penetrated at that time, and so I can't. Just the it just I wasn't thinking about HIV in that kind of way because I wasn't sexually active in that kind of way in my brain as a teen, and so it wasn't about me. That's kind of how I thought about it, and at that time, this is at this time, and so it wasn't. I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to give y'all the atmosphere. Um, my mindset about gay people was also still rooted in the images of how straight people saw gay people. So let me give you my how I was introduced to what a gay club was. So when I was about 6 or 7 years old, I not 6 or 7, I was a little older than that. What was it, 89? No, yeah, it was about 6 or 7. So my mother had two cousins that was raising her life like they were her brothers. So my uncle Mike, White Mike, and my uncle Billy. So White Mike was we call him White Mike because he was really really high yellow, like even lighter than me, like almost look white. Like if he had straighter hair, people you would probably think he was white, but because he had a really coarse, not coarse, really like it was a dark reddish curly. That's what gave you like if he shaved his head, you probably think he was a white boy. But his hair growing out let you know that he wasn't white. And so White Mike, and then then his brother, his older brother, which was Billy, Uncle Billy, total opposite of him, dark skin, really beautiful, Asian, like chinky eyes. Is that racist? I don't know. I'm sorry. I apologize. You know, the almond shape, that kind of eye, pretty, pretty, pretty. And he just my Uncle Billy was handsome, and so yeah, they were teenagers. And so me being a kid, I associated them with being adults, even though they weren't adults. Y'all remember that time in your life where you like these people, when you get older, you realize, oh, they weren't no fucking adults. They was teenagers. But yes, this was my Uncle Billy. They were teenagers. And my mom was older than them. And she was like in her early 20s. Um, and when she would go to work, they would babysit me. And these are the uncles that would be punching me in my shit in my chest. Stop acting like a girl. Stop acting like a faggot. You know, that kind of word. I'm trying not to get demonetized. um, they'll punch you, hit you, all that kind of stuff. These is the type of uncles that I had. They were very cis heteronormative, sneaking girls in, teenage boys sneaking girls in to get head, have sex with them. I remember one time one had snuck a girl in my room because my mother only had two bedrooms, her bedroom and my bedroom. So when they lived with us, they either had to sleep in the living room or sleep in my room. But um, my mother wouldn't let them sleep in my room because it's my fucking room. But sometimes they would try to sneak girls in, and they would try to sneak them in and have sex in my room. Remember one time while my uncle, my White Mike, was having this white girl in my bed. They were having sex. I reached under the covers and grab his piece while he was inside of her. And he jumps up. What the fuck? And she jumps up because they sneaking and having sex. Remember, he snuck her through the window. And so before he could do anything, I jump up and say, "Mama, Mike is having these white girls in my room." And my mother jumps up out of the bed, put her robe on. "I know you ain't got these white bitches in my house." So she get to grabbing the white girl and pulling her out of the room. "Bitch, get the fuck out of my house," and push her out of the door. And it was so funny. But I was being messy. so so this is the type of atmosphere that I was in. Being my mother, being a early 20s single woman with her two younger teenage brothers who would watch me while she would go to work, and they were kind of homophobic. My uncle Billy was not homophobic in the sense of he never really did any kind of um like punching me or whooping me or any kind of like that. He was real sweet to me. He was real nice. Um, only time he when he stopped being nice, and it wasn't that he stopped being nice, he stopped kind of engaging with me. One time I was sitting on my Uncle Billy's lap and I was trying to feel, I think I was like 6 or 7, somewhere around this age, just being too fast. And I was trying to sit on his lap and I was trying to feel his peace while I was sitting on his lap. I was a fast little child, but I'm like sitting on his lap trying to feel it. And once he realized that I'm trying to feel it, he pushes me up off of him and was like, "Get up off of me." And ever since that, my Uncle Billy was like, "Mm-mm, you do too much." And he started being weird, understandably. So I was just a fast ass little child. But anyway, so so these are the people that I was around. Now my mother also had some cousins that was a little bit older than her. My uncle, another Uncle Billy. One is Billy Anthony, and one is Billy. We just call him Little Billy because his father's name is William, and we call him Little Billy. Anyway, we have a Billy Anthony that's old. That's a cousin that's older than my mother. I'm sorry, I just got through eating Chipotle, and baby, it's making me um like hiccup. So Billy Anthony is a little older. Now they a little bit more toxic masculinity. They're more the kind of real toxic. And so when they would come over my house, it wasn't as fun. My other uncles, at least they were young and fun. They would play with you. Yeah, they'll do not Billy, but Mike, he'll do some stuff, but at least part of the time being around him, he's fun because these are teenagers for real, for real. So they like playing video games. They like doing, fun stuff. Where my Uncle Billy Anthony and them, they were a little bit older. They were older than my mother. So they was like, let's say mid 20s, late 20s, somewhere around there, mid 20s. Yeah, maybe like mid 20s, somewhere around there. And they were more toxically masculine, like bad. And so when they would come around, they would tell my mom that they need to stop having me up under her so much because I'm going to grow up and be up. And so when she would say that, my mom, if y'all remember my mom, as far as the interview, she was like, "Child, y'all don't worry about my child. My child's gonna be fine. Y'all leave my child alone. Um, when you have some kids, then you worry about your kids. Don't worry about my kids." That's kind of how my mother took it. But also, it kind of affected my mother in a way too, not in a kind of where she treated me in a negative way, but she also was a homophobe herself, just being honest. So she didn't want me to be a homophobe. So she would tell them out of her mouth, "Mind your business," but it still would kind of affect her. Does that make sense? So one time, so there where we lived on 16th and Central. And there, if anybody lives in Indianapolis, there's a club called Greg's on 16th in between Delaware and Pennsylvania. It's called Greg's. But what it used to be called is it used to be called Our Place. That was the name of the club, Our Place. And on the window, it was blacked out window, so you couldn't see on the inside. This is very common for gay clubs. You couldn't see on the inside. It was blacked out windows, and there was like a little rainbow. Was it rainbow? I think it was a rainbow. I don't know. There was, but I know on the bottom of it was right on the bottom of the window. It was letters that said "Our Place." And so as I got older, our nickname for it was OPs because it was called Our Place, OPs. So when I got older and old enough to go to the club, they would call it OPs, but it was called Our Place. So when you would walk past it, you would see, sometimes you would see the men go in, and sometimes you would see drag queens, sometimes and then further down on 16th in Pennsylvania is this club called the Varsity Lounge. And the Varsity Lounge is like this old honky tonk gay club where sometimes it's like the old the old gays go. This is where, you know, the drag queen with all the bad makeup, the old cruising daddy, the old over the hill gay people that, you know, probably still not out the closet, but they know they can go to the varsity because nobody be there. So the varsity is like that. And then if you on that same street go further down, so this is, think about it like an L. So 16th Street, it's like our place, and then on Pennsylvania is varsity, and then going down Pennsylvania is the 10. Now the 10 is the popping club. The 10 is the popping gay club. Um, for a very, very long time. It's closed now, but for a very long time, the 10 was a club that was like for everybody, young, um, lesbian, gay, trans, queens, everybody, gay boys, everybody, studs, femmes, even the trade be in there. Like they'll bring their bisexual girlfriends in there, so that it'll be some trade in there sometimes too. So it's just that's the 10 was where it was popping. And so, but I didn't know about those until I got older. The only one I knew about was Our Place, OPs. And the reason why I knew about it, because in my younger years, my uncles would say stuff like, oh, he gonna be down there at our place. He gonna be down there at that gay club down the street. If you don't stop him now, he gonna be down there. He gonna be down there with them. Um, and so I associated that place with gay people. And whatever they said about gay people, that's what I thought. So it was over sexualized. And when I would see people come out of this bar, now as I got older, y'all know if y'all a part of the gay culture, y'all know it's different types of gay bars. It's not just the same type of gay bar. Like it's the typical gay bar where, they play in the club music, they got the flags everywhere, the bar, everybody come to. But they're also like leather bars, like, where, the BDSM kind of crowd go. That's like the leather bars. And that's a gay club like that. And so what I didn't know is that OPs was more like that. It was more like the leather bar. So you'll see the dudes who run around in the chaps. You see the dudes running around in the leather and the change and the bondage stuff and the half naked with their booty cheeks out. And it's the leather crowd. Y'all know how the BDSM crowd can be. And so they were kind of weird. Like it was associated with weirdness. And so that's what I remember about them. So anyway, that's what I thought about gay people. So what they were, I didn't want to be. Growing up, I was like, mm-mm. It was kind of a rebellious thing because I didn't understand queerness. I didn't understand gayness. I didn't understand sexuality. I didn't understand sex. I was a kid under 10. So I didn't understand what they were saying, but because I knew it was negative, my mindset was like, mm-mm. Almost like I don't want them to be right. I don't want them, because I don't really like them and what they're saying, and I know it's negative. I don't want to be that, and I don't want to prove them right. Do you see what I'm saying? Even though I don't know what I'm proving them right to be, I just um I just don't want them to be right. Just as a kid, I'm like, I know this is negative because I can tell how they're saying it, but I don't want them to be I don't want them to be right. I can't explain it. But I didn't fully understand what I didn't want them to be right about. I hope that makes sense. So so I told myself that I would never go to that club. And to this day, as an adult, queer, grown as fuck person, I have never been to OP's. And it's one of the staple clubs in Indianapolis. But I've never been to it because I have always had a negative connotation of OP's because of how I grew up. And that was yes, it still exists. It's one of the oldest clubs. It has been renamed now. It's the same location, but it's named Greg's now. Um. So anyway, so as I get older, gay people were something that people always hid from me. So I also remember me walking down me walking down the street with my mom, and we were coming down Pennsylvania, down the street where those gay clubs was, and there was a drag queen coming down the street. And my mom, and I'm shorter than now, my mom is like 5'2", so I don't know how old I was when I was shorter than her, but I was really shorter than her. So this was probably around 5, or because didn't take me a long to outgrow her because she's like 5'2". Um, but I know I was shorter than her. And she was trying to hide this person from me by pushing me behind her. I remember my mother knows queer people. My mother knows queer people, and but she is kind of a homophobe too. Like I can't, it's really hard to explain my mother. But so she knows this person, whoever this person is. They called her by her name, her street name, Dee Dee. My mother's family name is Moochie. So if you are part of my family, most people call my mother Moochie. But if you know her like in the street, in the hood, they call her Dee Dee because her name is Deanna. Because her government name is Deanna, so they called her Dee Dee. And so if you called her Dee Dee as a child, I knew if you called her Dee Dee that you knew her from the neighborhood. You didn't know her you weren't family. Family is the only people who call her Moochie. Yeah, so the drag queen walking up to us, she's speaking to my mother. And I don't know if it's a she or her. I don't know. I just know I knew based on the voice that this got to be a boy in my child brain. I was like, this sounds like a boy. But it also looked like a girl. Like it looked, but also I knew I didn't know the name of it, but as me being grown now, I knew it was a drag queen by how she was dressed. She was very sparkle dressed, Diana Ross rhinestones, lashes, cut crease, big old wig, drag. Now I know it was a drag. So it wasn't a trans person at all. It definitely was a drag queen. And so and I remember my mother intentionally pushing me behind her, and I'm doing my head like this to look at the person, and she kept doing my eyes like this, covering my eyes while she's talking to this person. Like she was like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like sweetly talking to this person, like nice. Hey, how you doing? Working. Da, 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 da. Whatever she's saying to her, she's acting like the fish act. With she's acting like cis women act when they engage with queens. Hey girl, oh come on, work. You look sickening. Da, 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 whatever. But she's also covering my eyes. Anyway, so all these things happened when I was younger, where anybody who was any type of queer, I'm either being hid from them or there's a negative connotation being used talking about them. So anyway, I told you about I had a friend named Mario that I met um, when we were young. So I had to be like 14 because it was before high school. Oh, it couldn't have been Mario. Oh, okay, it's coming back to me. So there was two times. So there was one time that I went where I actually got in. Remember, I'm too young to get in the club. So I was gonna tell y'all the story about I'm gonna tell y'all the story, but there's one incident where I got in the first time I got into the gay club, and then there was an incident where I went to the gay club, but I didn't get in because I was too young. So the very first time that I went and couldn't get in, that's what I'm talking about right currently. And so I went with a cousin of mine, and I had to sneak out of my group home because I was in a group home at the time, and I had to sneak out of my door. Thank you, thank you. Um, and I had to sneak out of my window to go with him to go to the gay club. Now my cousin is very closeted. We both was kind of, I don't want to say I was ever closeted. I was too feminine to not be gay. It would be stupid for me to be like, no, I'm not gay. Even though there was when I was a young, I would say that, but at this point, I wouldn't say anything. Like I'd be like, when somebody asked me about gay, I'd be like, talk to him. But me and my cousin was similar to like this, similar to that, where we weren't openly admitting to be queer, but except to each other, but we knew what was up. Um, so we go down there, and he has a car because he's three 3 years older than me, and he has a car, and he takes me down to this club called Betty Boots. Now Betty Boots is it's not in that vicinity of all those clubs that I was just describing y'all. You got to go further downtown to get to this club because this club is more the club that I was just describing were kind of black, not OPs. OPs was kind of like I said, that was the BDSM leather bar kind of. But the other ones was black, so they were further up the road. They weren't downtown. Downtown, it was Betty Boots and Metro and all that kind of stuff. So Betty Boots, it just was this small ass building. It was this. I can't really explain it. It looks like a boutique store, kind of like if you go to New York, you see them boutique, them like just a small little storefront, like a small little storefront. And so we were sitting in the car, and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna try to go. Let's try to go up there and see if they let us in." Y'all had a metro as well. So, but these ones were kind of like white. They weren't they weren't black. But we didn't know at the time. But at the time, this area of the gay clubs weren't really white. I mean, weren't really black. They were kind of like because we're in Indiana. Indiana is very segregated in regards to people. And so we got out of the car to go into the thing, but the lady asked us for ID. And so we didn't, being kids, we didn't know they were going to ask us for ID because we didn't think about no damn ID because we didn't even think about that. And so we was like, oh, we don't got no ID. And they was like, oh, baby, y'all can't get in here. This club is for older people. No. We was like, oh damn. So we sat out in the car watching the gay people go in and out the bar and walk around and stand on the outside and smoke cigarettes and talk. And we walking in, we see drag queens walking up and down the street. So we kind of in awe at like, oh, what is this? This is a whole different vibe because we didn't know nothing about this. This is cool. So we didn't get to go in. My cousin started acting, I don't want to say straight. That's not the right word. He's straight, but he started kind of going back in the closet. Like he started going retreating. Like instead of oh, I'm gay now, or he started to kind of revert. Like I don't know if this is my scene. Not because of this day, but I don't know what happened. But he started to not want to be gay. So fast forward to like maybe a year later, I'm in high school or about to start high school. It's either the first semester of my freshman year. Yeah. So we go to I am talking on the phone to my this got to be my first because Mario never went. So yes, this has to be like the first year of my high school. So I was like 14. And I had this summer job over the summer at the University of Indianapolis. It's called IUPUI. It's like Indianapolis and Purdue. They got a together campus. And so what they did was they gave us bus tickets for the whole summer that lasted the whole summer. And we had a job they placed us at different jobs at the university. So I was in the economics department. And so you didn't really do nothing. You just kind of if they needed copies of papers, you just got to be there at a certain time. And if you needed copies of papers, you made copies. They wanted sometimes they have you type stuff, easy stuff type easy stuff or just different errands. Go get their coffee, go get their food. Hey, Miss Mocha, go get their coffee, go get their food. It just was a job, just teaching you as a kid how to be on time, just the work ethic of how to work. That's basically it. Wasn't like you was taking any classes or anything, but it was on a college campus and I was assigned to the economic department and we didn't do nothing but be secretaries, basically. And so there was a gay boy who worked in this vicinity in the program too. And his name was Howard. Howard was this ugly to me. This ugly little skinny, big nose boy. He just was an ugly little twink. To me, in my brain, that's what it gave. It was very, feminine, skinny. He just was, I don't know, he looked like a bird to me. So I was not attracted to him at all because, me being what I was very attracted to cis heteronormative boys. So I liked the boys that was the straight boys. But Howard did too. So it wasn't, that's another element which was funny. Most of the trans girls that I meet, that prior to them being trans, when we were boys, like young little boys, or in that kind of androgynous zone, we knew that we weren't each other's teeth. We knew we liked the niggas. It was even like when me and Ty met. Me and Ty knew that we weren't to have each other. We were supposed to be with the boys, like Honey the Train. Like it was something about us when we met. We knew that that was the vibe. We weren't trying to have each other. Where other gay boys, they would hook up with each other. It was kind of strange, which now that we know the whole dynamic of the difference between trans and the difference between um gay, sexual orientation and gender identity. Now that I know all of that, I understand why we didn't vibe with each other like that. Because honey, we were the fish, honey. We weren't trying to have you queens, honey. So it's kind of strange how that worked out. And so Howard, the next time I saw Howard with that over that summer was when me and Mario was gonna sneak to the gay club. But Betty Boops, because now we got some fake IDs. But another cultural thing. So in the community, I just told y'all there are different type of gay clubs. The reason why it's different type of gay clubs is because there's different type of gay people. Just like every other culture, there's different type of gay people. There's lesbian club, gay club, different type of even in the gay assigned male at birth people. It's different types. And one of the sectors of queerness, queer culture, is the church queens. And the church queens don't go to the gay club. That is not a norm. Well, in our city, I don't know about other cities, but in our city, the church queens did not go to the gay club. You can't be seen at the gay club. Now they might be in the parking lot, they might be on the beat, but going into the gay club, the church queens did not go to the gay club. They would go to each other's house. They after choir rehearsal, they had Kiki in one of their houses. There was a clique of church queens all over the city that everybody knew. All of them knew each other. They hung out at each other's house. They heard that hung out at church, and it was a culture of church queens. And then there was the club kids, but they were separate. There was some overlap, but not much. And so Mario was a part of like the church queen clique. Like he knew way more of the church queens than I did. I knew a lot of them too, but he knew because he stayed in the church. Remember, I told y'all know how I fell out with the church even before like transition. I didn't fuck with them, and so he stayed in the church as a kid going into high school. Da, 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 da. He stayed in the church and singing in choirs and everything. So he goes to he knows a lot of the queens. So when we making plans to go to the gay club, he backs out at the last minute because he is a church queen and he was like, oh, somebody gonna see me and they gonna go back and tell my pastor, they gonna go back and tell the people in the church, and it's gonna be whole da, 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 da. There's this whole thing about you can't be caught at the gay club. And so Mario backs out. But we were talking because we were all part of that job program for teenagers. We were all on the phone, kind of communicating on the phone with me, Mario, Howard, and this dude named Mikey. And so all of us are in our early stages of transition. Not Mario, not Mikey, because they not trans. But me and Howard, we was like, what is going on? So me and Howard get on the phone, and Howard is raised by a single mother who is, I don't want to say, she was similar to my mother, where kind of homophobic but kind of accepting too. Like it is what it is. And so when we had decided to go to the gay club, his mom was like, cool, long as she just was like, cool, just y'all can come over here after y'all leave the gay club, y'all come over here. So we go to his house, and he has all of these girl clothes. And I'm like, oh my God, your mother let you have all these girl clothes? And he was like, not really. I just steal them. I was like, oh, you boost them. And he was like, yeah, I just go and I just steal them and I just hide them in my room. My mother has seen me dressed up, but she don't know that I have them. And I was like, whoa. And I was like, I need to steal me some clothes too. So we literally go to TJ Maxx and steal some clothes. And so we go to the club. We called it dressed up at the time. And this is when we introduced the world to Diamond. And we introduced the world to Strawbella. So Howard, for the rest of the time that I know her, is Strawbella. No, once this happens, neither one of us is turning back. Once we go to this club, it was over. It was neither one of us was turning back. So Mikey, so it's me, Bella, and Mikey. Bella has on this this black little form-fitted dress, and she was padded. I have on these this is mid 90s, so I have on these low rise like bell bottom pants. And because the queers be real advanced in their fashions, what they were doing in the early 2000s, we were doing in the mid 90s, which was forward fashion thinking, because they started doing it in the early 2000s. So we were doing what they were doing in the in the early 90s. And so we started so we get dressed. I got these Bantu knots because at the time I had braids. Mikey wasn't trans. So he came just in some regular gay shorts and gay, look regular gay boy with some short shorts and t-shirt or whatever, I can't remember. But we go down to Betty Boots, and there is this big white drag queen named Jody. Now Jody is Hey Ryan. Now Jody is a big white racist drag queen. Very, very racist. Um um I think she is trans. I think she's trans, but big clock box trans white girl. Um drag queen too. And but also like just a racist. Just as we got older, I realized like this, she's just a racist. But at the time, um, she was just the one who, anytime she was at the door, the black girls wasn't getting in. If the black underage girls weren't getting in, and so she was at the door tonight, and she wasn't letting us in because we were all underage. Um, but she be letting the white underage girls get in. So that's how we started to figure out that she just a racist bitch. And so there was a white boy, an older, I want to say middle-aged white man. Probably he at the time, because we were young, he probably was in his 30s, maybe. But honey, we was young, so we thought he was old. And when he was at the door and he saw us, he let us come in. But he told us, he says, if I let y'all in, y'all can't smoke and y'all can't go to that bar and get any kind of drink. Y'all can't, none of that. Stay away from the bar. And so we was like, okay, oh, because we none of us smoked and none of us drank. So, we're teenagers, so no. And so he finally let us come into the bar. And so we come in, and now that I'm older, it looks really, really little. But when I was a kid going in here, this place looked huge. So, because it's just like a bar. It's just like a regular bar. But when you come in, it's these tables right here, and the bar is lined on this side of the wall, and it's like two steps that go up to the bar, and then the dance floor is on the bottom of the steps, and it's just a floor and like a long two steps that goes up to the bar. Um, and then there's a pool table over here. This has like a brick wall and lights, and there's like all of these laser lights kind of going. And this is in the early '90s. This is before they stopped the smoking in public places. So when you come in, it's nothing but the room is filled with smoke. It's just kind of going around the room. And I remember sitting down, and we're just looking at everybody, and kind of looking, and da 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 da. And all of a sudden this song comes on. Music's already playing, but this song, I guess it was brand new, or it was still pumping or whatever. But it's called it was by Big Sister or Sister Sister. I think it's Big Sister. And it's You Spin Me Round and Round. Ah ooh, ah ooh, 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 ah ooh. Baby, your love has got me on fire. When I see you, your love will take me higher. You got that look that's beyond compare. It's this really gay, fast club song called You Spin Me Round and Round, Round and Round. So look it up. My Big Sister. I think it's Big Sister. You Spin Me Round and Round. Um, and soon as that song comes on, everybody in the room started to scream. Not us, we don't have no cultural reference to this yet, but everybody in the room started to scream and move to the dance floor. And so everybody's moving to the dance floor. And if you look on the video for Round and Round on here on YouTube, I described the whole scene. I described the whole scene on the video here on YouTube. I put the whole description on it. But what happens is everybody just start at this beat, just everybody just start jugging and just kind of dancing and spinning and turning. You spin me round and round. Ow. And they bucking. This is the first time I see people bucking. And anybody who know our culture, there is a particular type of dance that we call bucking that a lot of drag queens do. that, you know, it's just you will know it when you see it. I can't describe it, but I can't describe it, but it's bucket. And so everybody is bucket, and and it's like the smoke is kind of billowing around everybody's body. It's just big chunks of smoke, kind of just like a snake creeping around the room, around everybody's body. And then you'll see somebody spinning in the smoke. It's like, and the laser lights is coming through. So I'm trying to give y'all a vivid picture of what I was experiencing as a teenager. And the laser, you know, them lasers at that club that's like green, yeah, red, yellow, and they kind of just sitting through, and they got them spinning, and they just was going through the smoke and hitting people's body, and people was sweating and dancing and smiling and happy and just gay as hell. It was something that I had never experienced before. The closest thing that I could tell you, what it reminded me of, I'm about 14. Either I'm about to turn 14. I think I'm about to turn 14. And so I think maybe in 2 months I'll be 14 at this time. Um, thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, and the thing that it reminds me of every time I think about it, y'all know when Dorothy comes to Oz back in the day when you watch the old school Dorothy, not Diana Ross, but the Judy Garland one, and she comes to Oz when it starts to get color, and it was black and white at first, and then they go to the and go to hey and they go to Oz, and it turned to color when she lands. That's what it reminds me of. We are in this club, and it's so colorful, and everybody is just gay and happy and fun. And my friends get up and start spinning and dancing. You spin me round and round, and it's just this amazing, wonderful experience. And in that moment, remember, I told you all this negative stuff that my people had told me about queer people. In that moment, I knew that I would be gay for the rest of my life, unapologetically. I knew that whatever this was, I never wanted to stop. I knew that whatever this represents, I knew that I would be proud to be that no matter what. For whatever reason, I knew um, this was my tribe. Like it was. Yes, as I got older, things started to the nuances of queer and gay and LGBT started to come as I got older. But in that moment, I said, no matter what, for the rest of my life, this is my tribe. Yeah, it was powerful. It was a moment that I knew, I knew for that no longer. That was when there was no more shame about being gay. Like there was no more shame. There was no more whatever it was when when you're young and you're just learning what gay, LGBT, and when you're just learning, there's a shame that comes with it because people are like talking negative about it. Like it's like, even if you don't understand it, based on how they're responding that is negative. So there is like a shame and like, ooh, ooh. And I remember being a kid and the innate shame that came with it because I remember, I think I told y'all about this. When I was like in fourth grade, my teacher, my fourth grade teacher, when I lived in Boston, um, prior to that, I was a very good kid. I was a very good kid that wanted to answer the questions and wanted to be right in school and wanted to, just a precocious kind of like, oh, I want to answer all the questions. I want to do my homework. I was a kind of kid. In fourth grade, I remember this moment like it was yesterday. Um, and my teacher from Boston, this is when I lived in Boston. Now, anybody knows if you've been to Boston, Boston is like they have their own kind of accent. It's not like New York. It's not, they have their own East Coast accent. And so, me coming up to Boston, my accent was very country to them. And so I remember this time, the answer to the question was 10, the number 10. And the teacher asked the question, and I rose my hand, because I'm a kid. And so I'm like, hey, I want to answer. I know the answer. And so I rose my hand, and the teacher pointed at me, and I said, 10, 10. And the teacher said, start laughing, like busting out laughing, and said, 10? Like, and he used this very country accent, and he snapped his fingers. And anybody from the 90s know what this means. And all the kids started laughing. And so it gave me a certain level of shame because I know what this means. This comes from this is a cultural thing. This is a gay. This is you see it on In Living Color. In Living Color, men on films, snapping the Z formation. This was snapping, and snapping when you talk was associated with gay culture, gay men. And so even as a kid, I knew that. And because you see it on TV, you see it on stuff. So when he said mocking me, now this is my teacher, right? When he said mocking me, 10, I had never felt that shame about being gay, like about my femininity. I haven't felt that, even though, I have been called names already, but this is the first time outside of my home because my uncles used to say faggot and gay and da 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 da. And yes, my stepfather went and choked him up after this. But this is the moment that I felt the shame of gay. Even when my uncles was doing it when I was younger, I didn't feel shame. I didn't know what the fuck it was. So I didn't know about it enough to be shamed about it. But now that I'm like 9 and 10 years old, I know the context of it. Like I know it has something to do with sex. I know it has something to do with me liking boys. I know it has something to do with that kind of stuff. You feel what I'm saying? I know it has something to do with that. And I know that culturally, black culturally, and maybe in other cultures too, but I'm a black girl, so and at this time a little black boy. Culturally, that kind of black gay um was something that was made fun of. And my reference point was In Living Color, when Damon Wayans and David Allen Greer would be in their that gay character on In Living Color. Because at this time when I'm growing up, this is the time that In Living Color is really popular. And so that kind of gay boy, men on films, yes, it was that kind of gay boy thing. And so I knew because in my household, when they would do that on In Living Color, they would all look at me, make this reference towards me. Like, this is what I'm going to be when I grow up. So I knew what this meant. So when my teacher, my white teacher, and now that I'm older, I think this was a white gay man. I really don't think that he intentionally was trying to shame me. I think that he just got overzealous as a white gay man, like they can do when it comes to black culture. And I think he saw me say it and it came out of him because he's a white and so he said 10, and baby, I turned blood red because I was shamed. And from that moment, I stopped answering questions. And this is for the rest of my well, not for the rest of the time, but for the majority of my school life, I stopped with that whole wanting to be studious. No, thank you. I'll do my work. I'll pass. I want to pass my little stuff, but No longer am I trying to impress people with that. And I turned into this unnaturally timid person because I wasn't timid naturally. I was naturally, hey, but unnaturally just quiet. So going into this club, all the shame from those moments all the way until this moment, going to this club and seeing these gay people free and happy and spinning and dancing. Some of them with their shirt off, some of them dressed up as girls, some of them, um, some even some lesbians in there, even some dykes and some butch dykes and feminine dykes um, and it was white, it was black, it was so many people in this place, and they were just dancing and having a good ass dang on time. And in that moment, it was a turning point for me. I said, I will never be ashamed to be this. Whatever this is, I couldn't give you all the nuances yet. I didn't even figure out that I was trans yet. It was I didn't have a name for it. I had feelings and da 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 da. Da. But this is around that 13-year old, time where I'm like feeling things, but I didn't have the nuances. But I knew in this moment I will never be ashamed of being gay because this is my tribe. This is what I want to be. This is who I am. This is the culture that I want to be a part of. This is the most funnest. This is the most happiest I have ever felt. This is the most freest I have ever felt. This is the most unabashed, unshamed, anything that I have ever felt in any moment of my life in that moment. And so I said, never, ever, 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 ever do I want to not be a part of the gay community. Right at that moment, at 13, 14 years old, I said, never do I not want to be a part of it. And to this day, I have never not claimed to be gay. Even as a trans, when you go through your transition as a trans woman, you kind of start to disassociate yourself with gayness because you trying to make it clear to people that I'm not a gay man, and so you kind of there's a process of disassociating yourself with gayness because you're trying to get people to understand you. So you're trying to there's a separation that kind of happens, but even during that separation, when I say gay, when I say I'm gay or I'm a part of the gay community, it doesn't mean I'm a gay man or the men that date me are gay. And no, it means exactly what the LGBTQ means. Just everybody gender nonconforming. When I say gay, that's what I mean. All the people queer, gay, all that means the same thing to me. And so, yeah, it was the first time that I ever went to the gay club, and I said, this is the best. And from that point on, I was sneaking to the gay club. Yeah. I see myself as a transgender female. Wonderful. Yeah, I don't see myself as a female. I see myself as a trans woman. I don't see myself as a female at all. I think there's a I think people conflate man and woman with male and female. I don't I've explained this many times before. I don't consider myself a female. I consider myself a woman. I think female is a very specific thing that I'm not. Um, so when we talk about yeah, I think there's a difference between me and a female. I do feel that I was born a male. Um, um, I was born a male child, a male infant, a male little boy. I grew into a little boy, and then I grew into a teenage girl, and then grew into an early preteen boy, then grew into a teenage girl, and then grew into a young woman, and then grew into a woman. That's how I think of myself. We all started out as female. That's cute to say. I think that your father gives you um, an X or a Y, and my father because your mother only can give you two X's. Now, this is simplified version of biology. We all know this. This is like standard biology, young, low level biology. So my father gave my mother a XY chromosome. And so when when the sperm went into my mother, yes, until when it started to form, until that Y said, "Hey, wake the little boy up." Yeah, we all was, we the right before the Y started to do his magic. If you were assigned male at birth, before the Y started to do his magic, yeah, we all had our X chromosomes, but that Y started to do his magic, and so, and so, bam, and so I'm not somebody who thinks that I'm a female. I just don't. I think that I was born male. I think that my brain went in the direction of a woman. I haven't been tested to know if it is a structural thing. I haven't done all the biological tests to figure that out. But I think my brain went in one direction and my body went in another direction. And so, yeah, so I identify with being a trans woman. I do not identify with being a female. So, yeah. So yes, that was my experience. My first experience going to the gay club. It was a beautiful healing moment where I said, "Yo, this is my tribe and this is who I am, and I don't need to be ashamed of this. I want to be free, and I'm gonna be free." So yeah. What age did you started drinking alcohol? Like, I'm not really a drinker, so like when I just get a cocktail, I'm a social drinker. Like, I'll have a wine at dinner. I might have a cocktail for fun at the bar. I'm trying to think of, but if we're talking about like the first time I ever drunk alcohol ever, I probably was sipping on my aunt, my aunt, her right here, my aunt's beer. I think that's the first time I remember drinking a beer was her. She used to drink Slits malt liquor, Coke 45, Bull. And I remember drinking that. I remember drinking that. Um, but yeah, I remember sometime maybe drinking my mom's wine. I remember my Uncle Raymond. I did a video about my Uncle Raymond. My Uncle Raymond, he drunk wild Irish rose, and I remember sipping his drink. So as a kid, I remember um, sipping on drinks, not really getting drunk or anything like that, but sneaking and sipping. So, but actually, like drinking all the time, that ain't really me ever. I ain't never been that person. But you know, I'll get a cocktail at a bar just to take the edge off of social anxiety. Um, a cocktail at a bar. Yeah. Who else asked the question? I stuck my mama Zima back in the day. Oh, I remember Zima. I remember them. My granny drunk those. That's the first time I tried it when she let me. Yeah, I remember the first time you started to self-police and overthink things that came so naturally to you. Yes, adults really don't know how their words and action affects children. They don't. Just being proud of your answer and authentically you created an entitled moment and he created an entitled moment and unfortunate shame. Yeah, definitely. The commercials made them look so good, didn't they? So refreshing, like Sprite. My questions are always overlooked. What did you ask? I only see statements. My parents kept me too close to them. But my dad, was it farther up? I felt like I was 18 plus. Where is your question, child? I only see statements. I don't see any questions. Ask again. Oh, when did you start transition? Mentally, I guess at this era, 13. When I started to change my clothes, yeah, around 13. Yeah. And if your questions are overlooked, you just have to ask them. If I'm in the middle of talking, sometimes I'm not just looking. So after speaking of that teacher, tell us about a teacher you can remember speaking life into you, affirming you. A teacher? I talked about that last week. I talked about that teacher on my last live. I talked about that. But if we're talking about queer, like affirmation, queer affirmation from a teacher, queer affirmation from a teacher, queer affirmation. It probably has to be. I don't know how to dance, child. I know how to twerk. I don't know how to buck. I got too much titties. Um, um, if I'm to be honest, it was my white teachers. If we're talking about affirming it and letting me be free, it was my white young feminist teachers, like my white teachers who were like in their early 20s, my white female teachers that were young female teachers. Yeah, those are the teachers that were the most that let me be the most free. And it's complicated. So this is the thing about it. There is there's a and this is a cultural thing. This is a kind of a residual of racism and how racism works in our country. There is a fictitious kinship. There's a book called Sister Citizen that if you have not read it, it's by Melissa Harris Perry. I've been on the Melissa Harris Perry show on her podcast, and it was an amazing experience. But um, she has a book called Sister Citizen, and in her book, she described this concept called She doesn't make the concept up; somebody else does, but she describes it in that book, and it's called fictitious kinship. And what is the concept of how Black people, um, there's a fictitious kinship between us. Like if one of us is successful, it's a win for all of us. Even though we're not kin to these people, no connection to these people. If it's a win for all of us, if it's a win for all of us because it makes the whole collective look good. The privilege of being white is that they have individualism. When they go out here shooting up the schools and bombing and doing what young white angry males do, it doesn't make the whole white group look bad. The privilege of whiteness is that they have individualism, whereas minorities, we don't. There's a fictitious kinship. There is something that we know it looks bad on all of us if something bad happens. Does it make sense? Y'all get the concept? Got it? So, because of that fictitious kinship, one of the things in our culture is we feel responsible for the children, even if they're not our children. I have to teach you how to be an upstanding man, especially if you're in a position as a teacher or you're in a position as a preacher or a position where you're in this kind of leadership role. So when I was in school, the Black teacher, male or female, they felt they had an obligation to teach me how to be an upstanding boy in the community. Okay. So me running around being a gay boy did not look good. A gay black boy, no, that didn't look good. So they're not condoning that. And I come from Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a conservative, Indiana is a conservative state. Indianapolis is a conservative city. And so I come from, it's very Christian culture, da 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 da. So a little black boy coming up, they're going to try to push you towards the cis heteronormative black man. They want you to be that. They want to train you that way. And I grew up in the church. So when I was in church, they're trying to teach you how to preach. They're trying to teach you how to be this kind of upstanding man. And then once that I leave that, the same thing happened with the teachers. So every time, if the female black teachers, when they would see me, it would almost be like, oh, why are you doing that? Why you almost like a disappointment. And especially with the black male teachers. I only had one black male teacher and I hated him. Um, he wouldn't call me like he wouldn't call me the F word, but he'll call me something, a nicer version of it, sugar in the tank, gay blade. He literally would be calling me the same names that the students would be calling me. Let me come into class late. Oh, you coming here just like that, like a gay blade. I literally had a gay male, not a gay male teacher, a black male teacher that would serve me just like the rest of the boys would serve me. Get me right together. Try to embarrass me, but by the time I got to high school, child, honey, your ugly, fat, dusty, bald head all over the top self, get out of my face. I was a reader at that point. Now I'm in the culture, so I can read. So I used to read him down. So it was a whole different. I was a whole different. That moment in that club shifted me. I was a part of a culture. Um, and so the black people in my school. I'm trying to think, was there any positive ones? They weren't like in the positive. I want to say positive. They like the women. They weren't negative. That I can tell that they felt like they were doing what was right. Like they're telling me stuff and why your clothes so tight? Why you got them girl clothes on? They're not. It's not now him. The dudes they were hateful, but the women they weren't hateful. They just thought that they were telling me the right thing to do. Now you know you're not supposed to be dressed like that. Now you know that's not how poet boys supposed to be dressed. And it wouldn't be hateful from the women. It would be, I think I'm telling you to do the right thing because you're a boy. Um, um, what else? I'm trying to think of there was a black male teacher, Coach Carr. Coach Carr, he wasn't a teacher and I never had a class with him, but he was the type of dude who I think was trade, not 100% for sure, but I think he was trade. And because he was trade, he didn't treat me bad. Not because he wanted to have me, because he wasn't like a pedophile, but because he was trade, I don't think he was being late to me. And so with him, our relationship was flirtatious. Like it was, how do I explain this without it being? He never tried to have me. I don't want it to be like he's trying to have me. Um, but he treated me like a girl. He didn't treat me like a boy. He didn't. He just was not. It just the same way he treated the girls in the school. He treated me just very flirty and nice and cool, like a young teacher. Yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. So he's the closest to positive that I can think of, and he's the only one. The rest of them, the white teachers, I might as well not exist. They didn't even. I think my psychology teacher was. I think my psychology teacher, he was a white male, but I think he liked me because I was smart. and smarter than the rest of the people in the class. And he liked it that. And so I think he was a different one. But I just, yeah, it was the white female teachers. It was the white female teachers that were the most accepting, and I could be free without any kind of negative. It's like they knew, oh, we know what this is. This is a gay man. Not me as I wasn't a man, but they know obviously. Um, and so they were like, oh well, we know what this is. And so they would introduce me to books. Like one of them introduced me to Eric Jerome Dickey. I already knew about Lynn Harris. And so yeah, so they were introducing me to queer books and queer authors. They introduced me to Alice Walker. You know, they had a queer concept in there, in Color Purple. And so these white teachers was, you know, they one of in junior high. Yeah, the white female teachers, they were on it. That one introduced me to Toni Morrison. I just got to give it to them. The white female teachers, and I haven't really thought about it until now. Now I'm thinking about it. White female educators really, really had my back. Now, as I got older, white females got weird. As a kid, white female educators had my back. I even remember I got expelled from school for stabbing this girl in junior high and went to alternative school, and they were going to try to not let me pass, because this is a time in Indiana when, and this was happening all over the country, but politically they were making you had to pass the, ours was called the I-step test. You had to pass the state test to go to the next grade. And I think y'all, if y'all in my age bracket, y'all remember that, where it used to be where you could just go to the next grade, but you have to pass the state test. And so when I got expelled from school, um, I would have missed the state test and not been able to pass to high school. I would have had to go do eighth grade again. But my white Miss Samantha Andros, and I've hit these all these women that I'm talking about, I have hit them up since I've been older. Um, and you know, share my appreciation to them. They're all on my Facebook list. That we're adult friends now, which is kind of strange. Um, but Miss Andros, Sam Andros, she went to the school board and was like, "Yo, I will administer the test. I'm a teacher, so I will administer the test to him." And just so I can pass, so I can go to the high school, because they was like, you know, y'all know this person gets bullied, and y'all know what happens, and this isn't a secret. Like, so y'all making this person not take the test and flunk just because, and y'all know what's going on. That's not fair. And so Sam fought for me, even though all none of the other teachers was in my corner to fight for me. None of the black teachers, none of the, you know, no. She was the only one who was fighting for me to take that damn test and not just be expelled. Um, but she administered the test. I passed it, of course, and she fought to get me into alternative school for the rest of the year, and I was able to graduate and go to high school. But yeah, my white female teachers, they had my back when I was younger. I told y'all in the last video, my last live, about when I sued my high school. My black female teacher that I really really admired, she was the one who was kind of like, "You're gonna regret this." Even though she was my favorite teacher, she was the one who had something more negative that I cared about. Of course, other people may have had some negative to say, but I cared about her opinion. And she was like, "Oh, I think you're going to regret this when you get older." So the black teacher that I cared about, she was negative about me winning when I was in high school. And so, yeah, it was strange. No, let's go back to the stabbing. I think I told the story too. Um, I was in eighth grade. I had there was this fine ass dude named Jeremy, not Jeremy, Daniel. Fine ass dude named Daniel. Daniel had a girlfriend named Jessica. Both of them were beautiful. Jessica was like the prettiest girl in our junior high, and Daniel was like the finest, typically finest black boy. Not my type of fine because he looked like a light skinned pretty boy type dude. He wasn't my type. I like chocolate boys, so he wasn't my type. But I could look at him and tell he was other people's type. He was beautiful. But he, Daniel, yes, I am a Pisces. Um, Daniel needed to borrow a book of mine for one of our classes, and I let him borrow the book. And so I needed my damn book back. And so we were in this class together. It was me, him, Jessica, and Jessica friend, Pebbles. Now, Pebbles is just a little peon of Jessica. Pebbles, Jessica, we this is early 90s, so y'all know how colorism works. Jessica was this pretty, light-skinned, long-haired girl, and her peon was Pebbles, who she was cute, but she didn't have no. She had what was cute about her was her body. Her body was cute. Her face wasn't cute. She just was, girl. What? So we get. She was trying to. Her and Jessica was friends, but because Jessica was, everybody was up Jessica's butt. She was trying to, I don't know. Y'all know how y'all meet these girls who have peon homegirls that do way too much. That's what Pebbles was. She was one of them girls that instead of her trying to get attention, she got attention from being loud and obnoxious, and that's just her. So anyway, I needed my book back from Daniel. So Daniel's locker was not far from my locker. And so when it was time, I told Daniel I needed my book back, and he was like, "Okay, yeah, meet me in my locker." Da 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 da. Now, mind you, we're at the end of class. We're at the end of the day, so there's a certain amount of time that you have to get Pebbles from the Flintstone. Yes, like Pebbles from the Flintstone. I can't remember her real name, but her nickname was Pebbles. Um, there was this when you catch the bus home, there's a certain amount of time from the time the bell rings and the time you got to get on the bus, or the bus is gonna leave you. And so in this moment, I am waiting for him to get to his locker to give me my damn book. And so I come to his locker and I'm waiting for him, and him and Jessica comes up and Pebble. So it's them three together. Remember, she's like Jessica's peon, and Daniel is kind of just standing there, and I say, "Oh, hey, I'm just here to get my book." And he was like, "Oh, okay." And they're just kind of talking. And so I'm sitting there, like, kind of just chilling, waiting for him to open his locker so he can give me my damn book. But he's talking to Jessica. He's being a player and talking to her, and Pebbles is right here, and da 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 da. So I'm patiently waiting, like da da da. But then it gets to the point where I'm like, yo, I need to get to my bus. And so I ask him again. And so he's like, oh, my bad. Da, da, da. So Daniel is not saying nothing negative to me. He's not saying nothing negative. He's like, oh, my bad. So he opens up the locker. He opens up the locker and hands me the book. But I grab the book and turn around. When I go back to my locker, I look at the book. This is not the book he's supposed to give me. This is not my book. So I have to go back to his locker, which is probably like 15 feet from each other. So I have to go back to his locker. Oh, no, you gave me the wrong book. When I come and hand him the book back so he can give me the right one, I guess I am interrupting something that I don't know what's going on, but I'm interrupting it, I guess. And Pebbles says, oh my God, why do you keep coming over here? He is not gay. And I'm like, what? I said, bitch, I'm just trying to get my motherfucking book. Give me my book. And she was like, who are you calling a bitch? And I was like, yo, bitch. And it just escalate. And I say, boom, 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 boom. And so we twirling. Swirling, whooping her. Boom, 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 of course. Whooping her. Boom, 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 boom. This teacher, black male teacher, named Mr. Pope, comes to me while I'm fighting her and grabs me and slams me down on the ground and gets on top of me, my whole body. And she comes over there and say, boop, 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 and start hitting me in my face. So y'all know I'm livid. So they not arrest us, but put handcuffs on both of us and take us to the office. I am sitting over there boiling hot. Boiling. Because she got them free licks off of me while that man was on top of me. I am sitting over there. The time is going by and they would think that we have calmed down, but I am sitting over there seething. I am not calmed down. I am pretending to be calmed down, but I am not calmed down. She is calmed down. I am not. I am seething. And they leave us in this office together for probably like, I want to say like 30, 40 minutes. Because they're waiting for the paddy wagon to come and get us and take us to juvenile. But you know, it takes, because it's only one paddy wagon for the juveniles, only one paddy wagon in the city. And so they make different stops at different schools to pick up different people. So it's going to take them a minute. And so we both are handcuffed this whole like little 30, 40 minutes. And the principal comes in the office and tells her, and she tells him, we calm down. Yeah, we go if you fight in school in Indianapolis, you go to juvenile. Yeah. Um um yeah, you go to juvenile for us. I don't know. Sometimes you don't. I don't know. This time we I think it's because we both drew blood. I think that's why it was. I can't remember, but yeah, both of us went to juvenile that day. Um, and so he tells me, she when he comes into the office and we both are handcuffed, she says, we done calm down. We ain't even mad no more. We done calm down. These handcuffs are too tight. She's basically pleading for him to take these handcuffs off. And I want y'all to know that I am over in this other seat just as angry, just as livid, just as mad, just as evil as I was 40 minutes ago. I do not want y'all to think for any moment that my temper and how angry I am, my level of anger has shifted in any way in this 40 minutes. Hers has, mine has not. So, baby, they take them cuffs off, and we're in this office together. They take them cuffs off, and I reach once he closed the door. No, he don't close the door. Once he goes out the door and I hear him away from the door, I reach over to his I reach over to his desk, and I grab one of them, I don't know what it was. Or some I don't know if it was an envelope opener, a pen. I don't know. I know it was something, and I took it and said, boom, and stabbed her right in her fucking neck and started beating her ass even more. And just start wearing her out. She was bleeding, not like gushing, but it was just because it wasn't like, oh no, jugular or nothing, but it was bleeding down her little chest. And honey, I was tearing that tail up. And I kicked the door closed so they couldn't get in it real good. I was wearing her ass out because I hadn't gotten in any kind of fights. And so the anger of all the bullying, um, I hadn't gotten in any kind of fights. And so the anger of her wearing me out, and I was like, oh, you about to get, and we going to juvenile anyway? You about to get all of this smoke. And I just got her together. Got her right together. And they they suspended her. Once that happened, they were gonna just suspend both of us, but they expelled me. They expelled me. They just suspended her. They just suspended her and expelled me. We got in a battle again in high school, me and the same girl. But she didn't. She wouldn't fight me, but she fought my cousin Keever, Kiki Wyatt's brother, her gay brother. She fought him while we were in high school. But while I was there, she wouldn't fight me because she knew, bitch, I'll go crazy on you. Yeah, I only had to fight twice in high school. Eddie Polk and Ronald Pittman. My freshman year and my junior year. But yes, that's how I got expelled from junior high, my eighth grade year. Before I went to high school, that's how I got expelled and went to that was at Shortridge, um, and 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 then I went to Roberts, which was an alternative school in Indianapolis. I went to Roberts, and Roberts was dope. I loved Roberts. I made straight A's at Roberts. Roberts was sickening. I could have stayed. I could have stayed at Roberts. Yeah, I love Roberts. I never fought in high school. I always fought in the hood. Yeah. Once I got to high school, I didn't have to fight in the hood. I don't think. Oh, sometimes me and Ty had to fight these niggas. Me, Ty, and Keever had to fight these dudes on the city bus one time. That was a crazy story. That was a crazy ass story. But yes. I wanted this to be happy and pride filled. Make sure if you listen and you like the story, thumbs up. I see 34 people watching and only 19 thumbs up. The city bus was always a T. Baby, we would ride the bus downtown to the mall because the mall, it was two different malls. It was three different malls that we can go to. The main ones was Circle City Mall once they built it and it got fired. Um, the Circle City Mall. But Lafayette Square was hood and Glendale was uh, kind of hood. It wasn't hood. Uh, and so in Circle City, we would how we would get home was so we would leave school, and so that would be like the 38, and we would catch the 38 all the way down. But when we would go home, because we all lived on the same path, we would have to catch this bus called the college, the 17. And so the 17 would take Deja home. It would take me back to my apartment. Deja, and if I say Deja, I mean Ty, because it's the same person. Her name when we were younger is Deja. Her name now is Ty. And so Deja lived on 34th in college. I lived on 37th, and Kiever lived on 46. And so we would catch the same bus going home. So we on this bus, and we queens, and we're not unclockable. We young queens. And so we get on the bus, and honey, the trade is lighting us up. Oh, hell nah, them is dudes, them is dudes, them is dudes. That's a man, that's a man, that's a man. Quoting Jerry Springer, it's a man, Maury. Or it's a man, Jerry. And so, but the difference between us, well, no, I don't want to say difference between other queens, but we were fighting queens. There were some queens we knew that weren't gonna fight the trade. We was fighting queens, all of us twirl. All of us will fight you at the drop of the dime. So we weren't the type of queens that didn't say nothing. So we sitting on the bus, and they saying stuff, we saying stuff back to them. We saying stuff back to them. We roasting. Right. As soon as we get on the bus, they in the back lighting us up. That's a man. That's a dude, dog. And da 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 da. Look at these motherfuckers. All that kind of stuff. Wearing us out. But we was the one to say something back. So we going back and forth. What school did you go to model? Oh, y'all talking to each other. I don't know. So so we're on a city bus, so we're going back and forth, blah 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 blah. And the bus driver said, "I'm gonna kick y'all all off if y'all don't calm that stuff down." And da 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 da. So, but everybody in this conversation is teenagers, and so we reading blah 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 blah. We talking shit. And what we don't realize is that these dudes is getting off at the same bus stop as Ty. So look at our dumb ass. We get out, Ty gets off the bus by herself. And the dudes get off with her. And we don't get off. Dumb. So we get on, when we get to my stop, which is like 3 blocks up. So she's at 34, I'm at 37. And when we get to my stop, all of us get off of my stop and run back down to see if did they jump her or whatever. And they were right in, as soon as we pull up, they were on the verge of trying to like surround her and jump her or whatever. But we were right there because she thought that we had left her, which we did, but we didn't. Our brain didn't register that they were getting off. Not school without walls. We have a church like that, a church without walls. And so we get off, and baby, soon as we pull up on them, we get to where it's like 3 of us and 3 of them. Boom, 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 boom. And it was just, everybody was toning it down. Everybody was just toning it down and fighting and twirling. And it wasn't really balanced in the sense of only one of them could fight. The other 2 dudes, you can tell that they were some non-fighting people. They had nothing but mouth, but they didn't have no hands. But all 3 of us could twirl, and it was only one of them that could really twirl. Because when he was hitting, because I could feel him, like he hit me on my shoulder, and I could feel it. I was like, oh, he got some weight on him. Boom, 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 boom. We went. I was like, oh, but when we walk up, I told Kiever, I said, look, this is what I want you to do. I said, because I know them little ones, they ain't gonna do nothing. What I want you to do, Kiever, is you hit the big one. Because he the one who I think we're gonna have some trouble with. You hit the big one, But as soon as you hit the big one, you switch to one of the little ones. But as soon as you switch, I'ma go to the big one. Because what's gonna happen is you're gonna hit that big one, and that's gonna fierce his that's gonna boost up his rage of him trying to go after you, and he's not gonna be paying attention to me. So you hit him and immediately switch your anger to the little one, to the other one. And I'm gonna immediately switch my anger to the big one. And everything worked out perfectly. Soon as we walked up to the group, we like, what's up? And as soon as it was about to go down, Kiva said, boom, and hit the big one. And the big one was coming over the ramp to kind of ram at Kiva. And Kiva did this little swirl and went over to the little one. And I said, boom. And the big one didn't even see me coming. And he said, whoa. And leaned over and fell to the ground. And I came, boom, 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 boom. And I had him up against the wall, just wearing him out. And because I knew once I get you, once I get with you, because you know my uncles and shit taught me how to get with them. I had uncles that taught me how to twirl, so I know how to get you and put some weight behind my hits, even though I was smaller. So boom, I'm wearing him up against this fucking concrete wall. Boom, 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 wear him out. And how Ty fight, Ty is like a Tasmanian devil. I'm more I don't know, say strategic, but I don't like to be wrestling. Don't be holding me. I like to punch and wear you out. Ty is like the Tasmanian devil. She gonna bite you. She gonna scratch you. She is like a Tasmanian devil. She gonna go up one side of you to the next, doing whatever she can to hurt you. Which is funny seeing her fight, because honey, she is gonna gouge her eyes out. She gonna bite. So Ty is going from the big one to the other one to the little, just like a Tasmanian devil. Boom, 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 just going around. Kiva's fighting these two together with her. I got this one up against the wall. I see Ty coming over. Boom, bashing. We wearing them out. So much so that the little one is done fighting because Ty done bit his ear. He bleeding the war out. The other one, he gone. So we really now is three of us fighting two. But the big one, we already done got him so wore out because we done tricked him. It's actually hilarious. But he the only one that could fight, because when he was trying to punch me, I could feel his, because I'm doing like this. I could feel his, because I remember he hit me right here. I was like, ooh, I'm glad that didn't hit my face, because he was swinging all wild and silly, and it did hit my face because I was like this. And he hit this, and I was like, ooh, I'm glad that didn't hit my face, honey, because that kind of hurt. Boom. It was hilarious. It was just a good time, a good little fight, good little memory. I wish Ty was here to tell y'all about her side of it. But Ty is like, but yeah, Ty is more of like a wild cat fighter. No rules, no strategy, just kind of fight. Which is sickening because you put us together. It's sickening. It's love. So we all twirling. It was sickening. So I loved it. But that was a city brawl. City bus brawl. God. I loved it. We used to always get into it with people on the bus. But that was the first time we got into it where they really was trying to twirl us. And I would see them boys. We would see them boys because they lived in our neighborhood. We would see them, but we got our respect from them though, because we fought. They never. Anytime we would see them after that, they wouldn't say or do nothing. They wouldn't say anything. They wouldn't do anything. So we definitely got their respect. Mm-hmm. It was a good experience. Trying to think of other gay experience that I had. I wanted this to be about pride, y'all. So Um, so that was my first gay experience, my gay club experience in my younger years. So when I got older, do I want to talk about this? I don't know if this is a. I think I want to talk about this. I don't know if I want to talk about it right now. I haven't thought this all the way through. I'm gonna talk about it and I'm gonna think it through so I can get some of my points ready. But recently, I had a conversation about gay men and how, as they get older, they get less feminine. And we were talking about it on Twitter, and I was like, they actually don't get less feminine; they conform. They start conforming as they get older because in the gay culture, being masculine gets you more perks. Like they start acting like they the trade. They start acting more masculine, getting on the phone with the trade, acting like they got a deeper voice than they got. They started to conform to cis heteronormative masculine norms to get the trade, to have the image of not a faggot, because being a faggot is negative in the gay community as they get older. And so I was like, it's not. And then when some dude come in the comments talk about, well, maybe they just got mature. No, because if you talk to them same men, if you become their friends, they queens, they the same feminine queen. That femininity was natural. It wasn't a performance just because they childish and young. No, that femininity was their natural selves. And this more mature, not feminine version is the conform self. That's them conforming to the rules of the world to get the perks of being a man. Because if you meet them and see them in person and let their hair down, they get to queening out just like they did when they was in high school. So acting like, oh, they just got mature. No, they didn't. They still agates. Being femme takes money and work. No, no, no. I'm talking about just natural femininity. So yeah, I want to talk about that now. I'll talk about that later. But as I get older and I get into being a woman, okay, so when I'm younger, I'm kind of figuring myself out. But once I get to college, one second, my mouth is dry. Once I get to college, I know, I'm a woman, I'm a girl, I'm doing my thing. And so this is during my, late teen years. And so there is a push to be more cisgender like. And so, but I also know coming to Mississippi, coming to college, going to Jackson State, um, only place you're gonna find community is at the gay club. And in Mississippi, it's worse than Indiana. Mississippi is only one kind of gay. It's only one gay club. It ain't like in Indianapolis where it was a couple of different gay clubs and different gay spots. No, in Mississippi it was one. City Lights, one. And so, and this where in one for everybody, not one for like nothing but lesbian, nothing but trans, nothing but queers. One. It's not a bunch of spots. It's one spot for everybody, and it was City Lights. So when I go there, I'm in my fish. I'm in my, you know, tipping through. And it's the first time that I'm introduced to stripper culture. Like I'm meeting, this is where this gay club, because it's where everybody went, the lesbians, the gays, the trans, everybody. When the gay girls at the strip club that just left like the straight strip clubs, they will come here to party because they just come there to make their money and come here to party. So I would meet so many strippers. Like it was so many stripper girls that and I started getting cool with them. And we used to go to the mall and boost. We used to go and we'll boost hair, we'll boost clothes and sell it. And we was hustling. And this is the first time that I'm introduced to stripper culture. That's what I remember about this gay scene. This gay scene was dominated by the women, by the unlike in Indianapolis, it was dominated by the trans girls. Like the trans girls was the stars of the scene. There was a couple of gay boys that was, popular, of course, but the trans girls, they were connected to a trans girl. It was the trans girl was the stars in Indiana. But in Mississippi, it was shifted. It was ran by the fish. And it was similar to that in it was a little different, just a little bit different. I would say similar when I came to Houston, but just a little different. Um, but yeah, the trans girls in Mississippi were kind of like the aliens, like the outlier, like they were the lowercase t in the LGBT, whereas it was total opposite in Indiana. So the way the culture was, it would flip. Like so, me coming into the space, I was used to being the doll. Like in my city, the dolls were the dolls, and the dolls were treated like the queen. But when you come to Jackson, no, you were treated like you live like this all the time because it wasn't a lot of full-time trans girls. That's what I didn't understand. This was such a conservative place. Being a full-time trans girl was unheard of. Somebody being full-time, I think it was only like two, Tiffany and this girl named Keach. And so I was like, what? Y'all don't have trans girls as full-time? They even had this girl named Shay. She had implants and she would be going to work as a boy. Explain that to me. She literally had implants and she would wear these big old shirts and big old suit blazers and shave her head down just to go to work and have big ass implants and be pumped, silicone pumped under there. So I was like, this is strange. It was like this. I didn't understand. I didn't understand it at all. And they act like I was just this anomaly because me going to Jackson State was also an anomaly. They would come up to the school just I'm sweating outside. I got my hair up. Cut these lights down. I'll cut this one out. But yeah, they would come up to the college just to see me, like a circus, not a circus. What is like a zoo, kind of. Like they would roll up and tell me like, "Yo, we heard that you was the trans girl that lived on the campus. We just came up to say hi." It was so strange. But once I realized that what I was doing was so abnormal to them, even though it wasn't abnormal to me in my city. You see what I'm saying? So it was strange. It was so strange. I did not realize it was that abnormal. But that's also why I didn't have that many friends. That's why even the gay boys in the school were like lying about lying about them being gay. That's how that's how far back they were. It was like they were like in the 60s, child. If not in the like 70s. Imagine like how 70s culture was. They were still in that era. Like, just imagine. So ball culture had not even got down there yet. That's how backwards they were in Mississippi. Like ball culture, none of it had like nobody was voguing at all. Like any, you know how when you go to gay clubs now, you know people be voguing and shit. None of that shit was happening in. They were doing it in Indiana, but they weren't doing it in Mississippi. There was no ball culture. It hadn't. That culture hadn't migrated down there. That's how backwards they were when it comes to queer culture. Um, yeah, it was strange. Definitely a whole different culture shock, a whole different ball game when it comes to the that was kind of the negative side. But the positive side of that is that because it was so abnormal, hmm, the trade was the trade. You would meet dudes who would not know anything about transness, like wouldn't know nothing. Like you would try to tell them your tea, and they still wouldn't know what you was talking about, which is sickening because you bring a fresh perspective of something, and so they don't have any kind. Like now, you meet boys, and they already have their mind made up about what trans is, what they would do if they met a trans person, because trans is so a part of the culture now. Back then, it was not a part of the culture. So when they meet you, it's like meeting something that you never met before. So you don't have any cultural concept of it, of what you would do, what you wouldn't do, da 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 da. Da. So you don't have any negative connotation about it. So you just meeting me, you just meeting Diamond. And if you're attracted to me, you just attracted to me. And I tell you I'm trans, you like, oh, I don't know what's this. But I know you beautiful. What's up? It was a naivete and a freshness, a greenness that the trade had that that I know y'all hear the old heads be like, it ain't no trade no more. It ain't no trade, don't exist no more. And that's kind of the type of trade that we were used to in the 90s. And I'm pretty sure like in the 80s. But the trade that we were used to, we don't have that no more. Everything is the positive is that it's exposed, but that's also a negative too, because dudes have their mind made up, and so it's harder to bring them over. They done seen the girls from Jerry Springer to Pose to internet girls. They know about what the girls are, what they do, what they look like. Da, 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 da. So it's a whole different kind of vibe now. Trade is asking you your pronouns. Oh, okay. Oh, you know I'm trans, right? Oh, okay. What's your pronouns? Ooh, this sounds good. I wouldn't say coax. I would say it's hard to give them a fresh perspective. You can sell it. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, you could sell it. Like, oh, I'm a woman. I'm just a special kind of woman, honey. It's easy for you to sell your womanhood to them. But now, honey, the trade done made up their mind. You can't convince them. Trade used to ask you, well, if I mess around with you, does that make me gay? No, I'm a woman. You are gay if you mess with a man. Do I look like a man? No. Exactly. Exactly. Gay boys like men. Gay boys like you. They would like you before they like me. But honey, now the trade done made up their mind. Nah, bruh. No, of course not. You know, we could make it right, exactly. We could make it sound good. We can, you know, make it, you know, we can sell it. There's no predisposition to not fuck with us. Whereas now it's like, oh, I know you motherfuckers. Hmm. Yes, it's just a different. But I also think men are different anyway, in general. Just even with women. Yes, Betty Boop's child. the Yeah, I just think men are different now. Different. I don't know if it's because I'm older, but I just even how men approach you is as a woman is different now. I don't know if it's because of internet. I don't know. She had a little extra. Come on, try it one time. I bet you're gonna like it. Just let me taste it real quick. Hmm. I just want to suck that dick. Pull that dick out. Yeah, I used to have a good time. I remember at speaking of Betty Boots, I remember the I remember this dude named Sean. I know you know Jermaine Peterson. I remember Jermaine Peterson. They were as it wasn't just Jermaine. It was Tamara, Jermaine. Who else? Jermaine was the main one. So apparently these was the Butch Queens that would fight, that could fight or whatever. So my cousin Keeper had got into it with one of them about this dude. Now we young, we like teenagers, and so they're like in their 20s, and we're like teenagers, and our last name, we didn't have a house, but we made all of our last names be Styles, like Diamond Styles. So I'm the only one out of all my friends that kept Styles. But we all had a name that starts with a D, but Styles. So I was Diamond Styles, Deja was Deja Styles, and We had a trans girl named. They weren't trans, but we going to the club dressed up as girls. Divana, just different names. Okay, so so we were called the Stylz girls, and so one time we had got into it on with the Butch Queens on the phone at over some this other Butch Queen. So remember, I told you we came out during the tail end of the AIDS epidemic. So because we were young, sometimes the Butch Queens would be messy and hit us up and be like, "Y'all need to be careful out here. These old dudes be trying to give y'all the bug." And they'll be trying to tell us people who got, you know, who was positive. They'll be trying to they'll be saying little shady stuff, health reads about people in the community because we were young and they chasing us because we were young. You feel what I'm saying? And so we like, y'all better not mess with him. He'll try to either they're warning us or they're being messy. One of the two, or both, whatever it may be, they're warning. So there was this one dude that had a crush on Kiever. And everybody was kind of putting a bug in my ear for me to tell Kiever, be careful. He'll put you in the prayer line. That was the nice way of saying he'll give you HIV. He'll put you in the prayer line. That come from the church queens. So you be careful. He'll put you in the prayer line, and they're being shady. Don't get it wrong. Um, and so we like we go through this whole little thing. So what we started to learn is that sometimes people was genuinely trying to warn you, and then sometimes people are just being messy because they hating that the boy like you. So there was an incident with Jermaine Peterson. That's the only one I know because he was the one that was feisty. And remember, so let me give you the out of my friends. So I'm if you was to ask who's the most likely to pop off, it's gonna be me or Ty. So me and Ty is like it depends on who you what's happening. I'm the type of person that you can't be in my friend's face too much. So you had to be you like if you trying to fight my friends, I will bash you just because you in my friend's face too much. I'm that type of person that I'll hit you just before my friend get a chance to even hit you because I'm that type of person. So Jermaine was making like threats to Kiever, and all this stuff was happening at multiple places, like either we on the phone or like different little threats at the club. And so one time we were on the phone with Jermaine, and Jermaine said, "Oh, I guess I'm gonna have to beat all of y'all Styles girls up, y'all Spice Girls." He called us the Spice Girls or some little crazy ass weird ass shit. And everybody was making it seem like we were supposed to be scared of Jermaine. And I'm the total opposite of scared. And honey, he called himself something happened where Jermaine had called himself threatening to fight us, to fight Kiever particularly. But I said, "You not gonna fight my friend. You're not gonna fight my friend." And and so when we get into the space downtown at Betty Boop's where it's time to twirl, and I'm like, "Let's go." Instead of Jermaine twirling, Jermaine says, "You know what, bitch? I like you. This bitch is a fighter. I like her." Now, mind you, these is grown ass butch queens, old butch queens. We like teenagers. So them trying to get us to the fight is really kind of weird. You a grown ass man trying to fight teenagers, but the fact that I was bucking up, like, let's go, what's up? I guess Jermaine respected it, so he was like, oh, he didn't he didn't try to twirl or whatever, like he said he was gonna do. So I don't know if he was scared. I don't know what it was, but but he backed down. So that was hilarious because he would fight everybody else. I remember there was so many twirls at Betty Boots and in the parking lot. So much going on. Y'all got the only so Keever, Keever and Deja, you didn't have to fight for them. They will fight. They weren't they would, yeah, he would. That's what was surprising. He would, but he didn't fight that day. um you didn't have to fight for them, but they would try to avoid it. They would try to avoid it. Keeper would, Deja would, Deja would fight, period. Um, but the only friend of mine that I knew that I would have to about 2 hours and 11 minutes, um, that I knew I would have to fight for if I got in a fight was my cousin Cliff. Cliff is not a fighter at all, but he don't act like a fighter either. He don't. Cliff is the type of person he tells you, baby, I'm not a fighter. I don't fight. That's ghetto. Cliff is like, baby, I'll call the police on the motherfucker. Y'all and I don't fight. But also Cliff don't be doing no messy shit either to cause a fight. But Cliff is one of the main people who is like, I don't I don't fight, child. That is not my team. But Cliff ain't is not pretending. It's the bitch who pretends that they a twirler that I don't like. Cliff ain't gonna pretend that he's a twirler. Cliff is like, baby, you get in a fight, I'll drive you away from the fight, but I'm not twirling. Cliff is not a twirler. Cliff is honey. I remember this was a hilarious fight too. We were at White Castle. So White Castle was where the battles can really happen because at White Castle, I think I told y'all this story a long time ago. But White Castle is where the straight people come and the gay people come. And so sometimes some shit'll get popping off because somebody will try it, da da da. And so that's what happened this one time. Me and Cliff used to drive this BMW truck, and we'll come, we tipping in, and we in the parking lot of the White Castle, and the trade is bullying these two gay boys. Now, this is the younger generation than us. So we just got to the generation where we are not we ain't teenagers no more. We're in our 20s. So now the Jermaine era in them, the Jermaine and Opie, and they're kind of old. They're like in their 30s. they're kind of they getting kind of old. And but we're like in our 20s. And so we're like that 20-year-old generation. 20 something. And so these kids, well, we kind of like 25-ish, like that middle 20s. And these kids is like in their 20s, and the trade is bothering them. And you can see the trade really just bullying them because these some big. There's one of them that's like kind of muscly, and then this one is tall. These some short little butch queens, and they really trying to bully them. And I'm like, are they really trying to fight these little gay boys? And I'm in the car with it's me, Cliff, and who was it? Chablis. Who else was it? It was Chablis. Was it Chablis? I think it was Chablis. And so Cliff, I was like, I'm not gonna let them. I'm sitting in the car watching it go down. I was like, I'm not gonna let them fight them. I'm not gonna let them jump them. If they get to twirling, I'm getting out and twirling. So this, I don't know. I know Cliff is not going to because Cliff, I'm in the passenger seat and Cliff is driving. And Cliff is like, bitch, you know I'm not about to get out and fight. No, nobody. I don't care who it is. I'm not fighting. And I was like, Cliff, you ain't gotta fight. Just don't leave when we can do a batch and dash. And Cliff was like, okay, I can do that, but I ain't fighting. And so so we like, okay. So we get out the car because we can tell that the twirl is about to happen. They about to try to jump these gay boys. And so I get out the car and I'm looking at what happened. Because now, mind you, we ain't got nothing to do with this. All we know is this is a straight and a gay. We know what happened. Like they're just, they said something out of sideways to the gay boys. The gay boys said something back, and they saying something back. So it's escalating. It's not like somebody did something wrong. It's just that they're being shady. And I was like, so if they try to jump them, because it's like four of them and only two small twink gay boys. And I'm like, I know they're gonna try to badge them real quick. So it's me and Chablis. It's somebody else. It's another. No. Okay, this is what happened. So it's only me and Chablis in Cliff Car. But what happens is, what we don't know is our other friends is in White Castles about to come out, but we don't know this. So if me and Chablis is in the fight, it evens out because it's like two gay boys and four of them. But if you add us, it's two of us. You know what I'm saying? 4 on 4. So it's cool. We like, that's even. And I was like, I'm not gonna let them jump them. So I get out the car. I tell Cliff, just chill. And if we can get it popping and then head on out. So they get to twirling with the gay boys. And soon as the other two start trying to jump in, me and Chablis come. Boop, 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 from behind, snatching braids, because this is the time when Trey got braids and everything. We snatching braids. One is this big buff ass white boy. So we snatching braids. Boom, 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 boom. Bashing. All I know is my homeboys from the Meadows, my gay homeboys from the Meadows, they come out. Now these are Ty's children. So my best friend Ty, she done kind of come up with her little young people of family, her little family. And so they're her children. They like, Auntie, who you fighting? They see me twirling, they know the rule. Everybody twirl. So now it's a bunch of queer folks, like, cause it's like four of them fighting four straight boys, four of us and four of them. So now it's 8 against 4. So we are wearing these straight boys out. I want y'all to understand. We are now, it was even, and we just kind of wearing them out, sneaking them or whatever. But now they're getting bashed, wore out. The other trade is like, damn, where all these FAGs come from? Because they thought that the two boys, because remember, everybody is watching what's going on, but they don't know that we all connected. And so we bashing them, bloody, they bloody. All I see, something happened where, everybody's swirling somebody. All I see is right in from the corner of my eye, I hear some hits that sound like some haymakers. I just hear these hits, and I'm fighting this boy, and I'm looking up. I got him. Your hands is garbage. I look up, and all I see is that big muscle bound white boy. He's a white boy he's probably like 5'10". He ain't tall, but he just like this buff white boy, braids to the back, and he is going through the crowd. Boom, boom. And all I say is, he is not about to make it close enough to give me one of them. Because I am hearing how he is clearing the niggas. And I tell Chablis, the dude, I let the dude go because he couldn't get off and under my hands because he had some kind of braids or something that he couldn't get away from me, and I'm just wearing him out. But I let him go once I hear old Trey clearing, and I tell Chablis, go back to Cliff Car and get my purse because when you fight, you don't want your purse to be all everywhere. White boy is clearing. White boy, I hear his hits. I hear the impact of his hits. Chablis goes over to the car and get my purse. I grab my purse. I get my mace. Get out the purse. Before he could even get close to me while he's over there trying to boot. Let me show you. Let's calm these clearance down. Let me show you. You need to calm down. And I just mace him. And white boy is red and can't breathe. And the gaze is like, boom, boom, boom. You ain't clear no more, baby. We gotta disadvantage you. Gotta disadvantage you, baby, because them hands was too strong. Them look like some. So now everybody over there coughing because when you hit one motherfucker with the mace, you really hitting everybody. But the ones who not good at mace, they hitting the white boy with pipes. The white boy is wore out. Now he wore out red and bloody and maced up and wore out. Cause I knew if he would have came over here with them hands he was throwing, nah, I couldn't take them. I couldn't take them. So I maced him. He calmed down. They started beating him with a pipe, and then everybody started coughing because they was getting wore out by the mace. But he was bleeding and wore out. His homeboy came over and grabbed him. The white boy's homeboy came over and grabbed him and put him in the car. And we were like, if they go try to get some guns enough, we need to hit it. So we got in the car with Cliff, and Cliff rolled us on out, baby. I was like, see, that's what you do, Cliff. You make sure we can get up out of the scene. We never seen them again. White Castle was where it would go down in White Castle because White Castle was where everybody would come. And so you don't know if it's gonna be the cool gay folks or the cool yeah, I don't know if you the cool white folks or what. Cliff did come through with the assist, baby. Mm. Yeah, he came through with the assist, but the club used to be so fire. I used to we used to have a beat. The beat used to be hit, used to be popping. You go after you leave the club, you go to the beat. That's where me and Bella got in a fight. I think I only got in a fight twice at the beat. Um, I remember I was I was supposed to fight Stacia, but she didn't fight me. You remember Daryl Phillips before he shined? You remember Daryl Phillips? I was supposed to fight Daryl Phillips, but him and Stacia the same night, and they didn't fight though. I was out there like, "What's up?" and they didn't fight. They a lot of motherfuckers didn't want to fight. They be acting tough to other people, but honey, when it was time to get down, it would they'd be like, they'll change their mind. But that was when we was young. Once we got older, it got real cool. But Daryl ended up dying. Daryl ended up dying of the two. Yeah, Daryl ended up passing. That when the night that I don't know if you remember this. I got a picture of it on my Facebook, Sean. The night that we were supposed to fight, that was the night that Daryl and Stacia, we were all at the beat, and Daryl had on these black and white, like Pippi long stockings, tights on. And I don't know if you remember, before he passed away, his lymph nodes had swelled up, and his jaw and neck was like this big, like a fucking, I don't know, like he had Turner syndrome or something. You remember that? You remember when Daryl, his neck got real swole before he passed away? It was that because when we was young, he wasn't, well, he was older than us, but they hadn't swelled up. But before he passed away and he still was out, this is another T. Daryl was one of the church queens. Daryl was one of the church queens that kind of was the, remember I told y'all earlier in the conversation that the church queens didn't really overlap with the club queens, but there were a couple of them that did overlap. The church queens kind of didn't like to be caught at the gay club because they knew that somebody would be telling it the next day at the church house. So Daryl was one of the people that was kind of like the overlap. Sometimes he'll be out. He might not be in the club, but he'll be out on the beat. You feel what I'm saying? That type of stuff. And so, but when Daryl was about to pass, and I think Daryl was passing from complication of HIV. When it looked like he was about to pass, like when he started to physically look like, remember I told y'all this is before we had the good medicines that we got now. When it looked like that his body was deteriorating, he started to be more open and go out to the club, be dressed all super, super gay and with wigs on. He's like, shit, fuck it. So he started to be more free. And he started to lose a lot of weight. And then his lymph nodes swelled up super, super big. And it was the first time that we had seen somebody. I know me in my teenage years, this was the first time that we had seen somebody kind of going through the process of dying from HIV. I know it was my first time. Um, like what could the possibility of what could happen. Now that has happened many times since I've been an adult, but this is the first time that it happened where we're seeing physical things happening to this person in their physical decline. um, Same thing, Sean. Remember Tati? I know you remember Tati. Same thing happened with Tati. Tati went through this process where Tati was like this, this like fabulous butch queen with dreads and kind of almost kind of like stuck up a little bit. But then when he was about to pass, like when his body started to deteriorate and there was nothing that they could do, um, Tati started to dress up like a girl and just do all the things that they wanted to do before but couldn't do. I don't know what that's about, but Tati started doing drag at the end of his life. Just started to do whatever, just be more free. And the Sean and um, Daryl Phillips did that too. They went through this process. I don't know if it's I don't know what to call it. They just a process of fuck it. Let me do whatever it is I want to do. So they started being more girly. But that's the night that night that we had that he had on them stockings. I literally have a picture on my Facebook of us all together because we came down there to twirl. Because these sections on their phone talking real jazz. We got down there and they changed their whole tune. But we all had a cute little picture. Let me see if I can link out to the picture. Yeah, that picture, that same night when I had the leopard print on, that night, and when Daryl was in that picture, Stacia was in that picture. Um, who else? Was it Tony? I think Tony was in that picture. Who was the light skinned boy with the kind of droopy eyes? I can't remember his name. I don't want to say he was retarded, but he was kind of slow. Not Tony was the one with the full lips. Not Tony. Tony was in the picture though, but it was another light skinned boy that used to always be on the beat and at the 10, dance in the club, sweaty. He used to be with y'all too. Um, Sean is Sean is in that generation above us. Sean is like he was like around 5 years older than us. How are you? How old are you, Sean? Sean was like how I think you were like 5 years older than us. I'm 42. How old are you? You in that Stacia era. Y'all were like 5 years older than us. Yeah. Yeah. So y'all were when we were teens, y'all were like in y'all early 20s. When we were in our late teens, y'all was in y'all you in that Stacia bracket. Yeah. So yeah, this was somebody I can't remember. This he was in y'all era, and y'all were like, but he was always drunk. He was light skinned. I used to think you and him was the same person, but once I saw y'all, then I started to see. Not Mike. Is it Michael? No, not Michael. This one is um he was always drunk. He always had his hair blonde. His eyes was kind of like this. They were like droopy. Sometimes they looked like they was closed. But he was always dancing and having fun. I can't remember his name. Um, who else? Who else? Then Billy. I wonder where Billy's at. I haven't seen Billy in a minute. Did Billy die? I don't know. You remember Billy? Um, Tamara Opie. I used to love Tamara. Tamara lives in Houston now, and I didn't know. We haven't. Tamara has lived in Houston for a very long time, and I didn't know that Tamara lived in Houston. Am I talking about Kiki? I don't think I'm talking about Kiki. I don't think I'm talking about Kiki. No. Kiki was like a caramel brown, right? Yeah, Kiki was like a caramel brown, not Kiki. Um, no, this dude, I can't remember his name. I don't remember his name. Um, he just was always drunk. I just remember him. And he's in the picture too. Chablis, Tiffany. Yeah, I haven't seen Billy in years. Billy used to be fine. God, Billy used to be so sexy. Even when he was super being gay, he used to be so fine. Uh, Billy. Who else? Who else came out later? I'm trying to think of that group that was right before us. It was Tamara, Tootsie Roll. Where the hell is to Alex? I haven't seen Tootsie Roll. Let me see if I can find it. You remember Alex? I don't know if I think Alex was either right in between our either right at our age or right under our age, like Zori. Because Zori is like but Zori was like above us, but below y'all in age. Alex was Tootsie Roll. You know Tootsie Roll when you see them. Maybe not. That Tootsie Roll was kind of ratchet. Like went to jail all the time. Ooh, I don't know why it's not showing us the pictures. I don't know where that picture is, child. Yeah, Zoe is an Indianapolis legend. I wish she would have got her shit together. I remember when Zora used to break through Forest Manor. I remember when another memory I have is when you remember Miss Goodall? When Miss Goodall whooped Zoe with that belt, running, chasing Zoe down the street, whooping her with that belt. Did you ever hear about that? I remember that. Miss Goodall. Tootsie Roll's real name was Alex. I let Alex come stay with me, child. I let Alex come stay with me here in Houston for a month. This nigga put charges on my phone bill, ran my phone bill up like $150. Baby, I had to put him out. I was over it. Yeah, I seen Goodall on Facebook. Who else? Sizzling. Sizzling was out before us. That's y'all age bracket. Sizzling Sandra. And Christine. Christine, Reese, you know, the one Daytoria killed. Um, Re- I haven't seen Reese in years. Not Reese. Not I know we ain't seen Reese. Reese was the one that got killed. But Christine, they used to hang with Sizzling, Reese, um, um, her name was Christine, and Vicky Chatterfield. I haven't seen her in years. Is she still alive? Vicky Chatterfield. We having a reminisce session, y'all. Is Christine still trans? Is she still one of the girls? I always thought she would transition years later. Miss Vicky passed. Okay. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, I know Scissor's still living. I seen Scissor the other day. I can't remember if Christine is still trans. Yeah, I always thought that she would transition, detransition. I mean, I knew Sandra wouldn't. She seemed more authentic. I knew Sandra wouldn't do transition, but I just always thought Christine would. I actually thought once Victoria went to prison, I thought that she would have detransitioned, but this bitch came out. I'm a woman, honey. I was like, work. Once she did that 20 years, I thought she was gonna be done with the girls. She came out, she working at the trans center. She done killed one of the girls and working at the trans center. I said, work. I said, all right, Miss Thing. She done took now. Honey, she done killed one of the girls and want to be a trans activist after killing one of the trans girls. I was like, work. All right. I know that's real. Mm, 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 mm. 30 people watching and 30 thumbs up. Yay. But yes, I wanted to tell y'all about my first time being at the gay bar. It was really, really good. I had a fun time. It was called Betty Boots. And I've never, even since I've been older, I told y'all about OP's, our place. It's called Greg's now. I never been to that club, even as an older person, just because of the negative connotation that it had. So I never even been to that club. And it's still around in Indianapolis. It's still around. Um, and my cousin Felix, my cousin Felix lives in Indianapolis now. That I was telling you about a couple of videos ago, and he said when I come back, he gonna take me to Greg's just to go and see what OPs look like. Since I never, even though it has been a staple gay club, I've never been. I don't even know what the gay clubs is doing in Indianapolis now. I know once they closed Tablet Street, I don't know what happened. I know Metro. Our Pride was tonight and OP's was packed. I know that's right. Do a lot of trans women go to gay bars? Yeah, we still in the queer culture. Not all the time, but I see it happen. I see it happen. We still go kiki with the queens. The Metro is a spot now. Not the Metro coming back as the spot. Metro been around for years, child. Woo. Coming back as the main spot, honey. Because the 10 is closed down, Tablet Street closed down, Cabaret is closed down, right? All that stuff been closed down. Um, what else? I don't know what else is popping. Is the varsity still there? Didn't the varsity close? Didn't somebody sell the varsity? Just because I've heard some incidents of violence at the gay bar. Yeah, you might see some people fighting. That's because people fight in all cultures, but not trans woman specific. Yeah, it's closed down. The varsity closed down. Yeah, all the stuff that I remember from my youth are closed down. That I remember. Metro's still open, but I can see that because that was kind of the white club. So of course they're gonna have some consistency. um, is it the 501? Is the 501 still open? Is that what it's called? I don't remember if that's the name of it. The 501 something. Is it 501? I think it's called 501. Yeah, that was okay. That was a leather bar. I heard OP's turned into a leather bar. Well, Greg's. What else? Is the unicorn still open? Mm. Unicorn was like a strip club, like a gay strip club. The unicorn is an old folks home now. I love that. Work. Come on, old folks home. Yeah. Well, all right, y'all. We've been on here for 2 hours and 45 minutes. If the walls could talk, baby. If the walls could motherfucking talk. Oh, I will be in, let me look at my schedule. So I definitely, this Pride, what do I have planned? Lord. So I think this weekend was the Houston Pride stuff. But I will be in Houston the rest of this week. But oh, I'll be in Dallas on the 14th, but just for a brief little situation. I'm doing an event at the Holocaust Museum, another event there. That's on Wednesday. But I will be in San Francisco on the 21st through the, I don't know how long I'm gonna stay, but it's gonna be a little minute. And I will, because I'll be during the Pride festivities. One of my homegirls is the Marshal. Brianna McCree is one of the Pride Grand Marshals this year, and I will be there to celebrate her. So it's gonna be dope. Love it. And then, if you are one of my people who are in Europe, I will be in Switzerland, Amsterdam, in Switzerland, the first week of July, the first half of July. I'll be in Amsterdam, in Switzerland. So, trying to find some black trans people that are in that area in the Netherlands so I can interview them and talk to them and see what is given up there. And hopefully, I'll find some people. But yes, I will talk to y'all next week. Not next week, this week on Friday, on the 16th. I have a video of my homegirl from college, not from high school. I interviewed my homegirl from high school because she has some queer children, and she was one of the people who I was in drama club with, and I wanted to hear um, her state is going through all the kind of legislation, and she has queer children, one that identifies as non-binary, and I wanted y'all to hear her perspective as a parent and navigating that space and all this legislation to come up. So I will be editing that and releasing that soon, probably Thursday. And yeah, that's what's coming up. I will. But that's about it. Thumbs up if you're watching after we get done, and yeah, subscribe and follow me on Instagram and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. Everything linked in the bottom. I'll see y'all. Bye bye.